In 1953, a mysterious gunfighter rode into theaters and transformed the Western genre. Shane was a box office triumph, ranking among the top films of the year, but more importantly, it introduced a new level of moral complexity that built upon earlier films like The Oxbow Incident and High Noon. Director George Stevens, known for his painstaking attention to detail, reportedly demanded numerous takes for the film's finale. His perfectionism paid off. Where other westerns glorified violence, Shane questioned it. Alan Ladd's portrayal of the enigmatic drifter brought a quiet vulnerability to a genre steeped in bravado, creating a character haunted by past deeds. The film's brilliance lay in its contradictions. Shane advocated peace while carrying weapons, defended innocence while concealing inner turmoil. This wasn't the clear-cut morality audiences were used to. It was a bold shift into moral ambiguity. Cinematographer Loyal Griggs captured Wyoming's Grand Teton Mountains with Oscar-winning finesse, turning the landscape into a silent force that reflected Shane's internal conflict between civilization and the wild. That final scene, Joey's desperate cry echoing across the valley, remains one of cinema's most debated endings. Some believe Shane succumbs to his wounds, others think he rides off into myth. The ambiguity was deliberate, signaling the genre's evolution from simple tales to layered psychological narratives. Despite its relatively high budget, Shane became a cultural touchstone. The National Film Registry preserved it in 1993, securing its legacy as the Western that taught Hollywood how to make audiences reflect while watching heroes disappear into the horizon. In 1952, Hollywood released a Western that defied every genre convention. High Noon unfolded in real time, with clocks ticking toward a showdown that felt genuinely inescapable. Gary Cooper's portrayal of Marshal Will Kane became iconic, though few knew he was battling chronic ulcers during filming. His real-life discomfort added a raw edge to Kane's growing desperation, mirroring the character's isolation. Screenwriter Carl Foreman, facing scrutiny from the House Un-American Activities Committee, infused the script with his own experience of standing alone under pressure. This personal lens gave the story its emotional weight. Dmitri Tiomkin's haunting ballad, "Do Not Forsake Me, Oh My Darlin'," threaded through the film like a solemn hymn, becoming the first Western theme to win an Academy Award for Best Original Song. The melody underscored Kane's inner conflict between duty and escape. The film's stark moral terrain resonated far beyond Hollywood, while some, including President Eisenhower, reportedly found its tone unpatriotic. Others, like Bill Clinton, later cited it as a favorite. High Noon's minimalist style and introspective hero influenced generations of filmmakers, proving that the most powerful westerns aren't about conquest, they're about standing firm when no one else will. In 1956, John Ford delivered a western that upended everything audiences thought they knew. The Searchers didn't just challenge the genre, it dismantled it with thunderous force. John Wayne's Ethan Edwards emerged as one of cinema's most layered anti-heroes, a man driven by hatred and obsession. Wayne acknowledged the character's darkness, and some interpret Ethan's journey as one of redemption. This wasn't the typical cowboy. It was a deeply flawed man whose 5-year quest to rescue his niece Debbie exposed unsettling truths about American frontier mythology. Ford's use of Monument Valley became iconic, turning the landscape into a visual metaphor for Ethan's internal struggle. Natalie Wood's appearance as the adult Debbie was kept secret during production, heightening the emotional impact. Rumors suggest Ford cast Wayne against type to challenge his heroic image and force audiences to confront their own biases. The film's exploration of racism, vengeance, and family loyalty shocked audiences in the 1950s. Ethan's hatred toward Native Americans continues to spark debate, with scholars divided on whether the film critiques or reinforces prejudice. That final shot, Ethan framed in a doorway, walking into the desert, has inspired decades of analysis and influenced directors from Martin Scorsese to Steven Spielberg. The Searchers remains a towering achievement in Western cinema. On March 2, 1939, Stagecoach galloped into theaters and redefined the Western. It marked John Ford's first sound Western and resurrected the genre from B-movie obscurity. Ford's decision to shoot in Monument Valley gave the film a mythic quality. The towering rock formations became more than scenery. They were silent witnesses to human drama. Casting John Wayne as the Ringo Kid was Ford's boldest move. Studio executives doubted Wayne's appeal, but Ford's vision proved prophetic. His dynamic camera work and deep focus photography showcased Wayne's charisma in ways his earlier films never had. The ensemble cast, including Claire Trevor and Thomas Mitchell, brought depth to characters that could have been cliches. Each passenger on the stagecoach carried secrets, making the journey a microcosm of frontier society. Stagecoach earned 7 Oscar nominations and won 2, proving that westerns could be both commercially successful and artistically respected. Red River debuted in 1948, marking Montgomery Clift's explosive film debut opposite John Wayne in one of the most psychologically rich westerns ever made. Director Howard Hawks found himself navigating the clash between Wayne's rugged instincts and Clift's introspective modern style, an artistic tension that enhanced their on-screen father-son dynamic. The film's most ambitious sequence involved herding thousands of real cattle across the plains, a logistical nightmare that led to injuries and near disasters. Hawks insisted on realism, and some believe he welcomed the chaos to capture authentic fear and urgency. Red River stood apart by diving into the toxic relationship between a domineering cattle baron and his adopted son. Wayne's Tom Dunson wasn't a traditional hero. He was a man consumed by control and pride. The film explored masculinity, authority, and moral uncertainty in ways that would shape the genre for decades. Preview audiences rejected Hawks' original violent ending, prompting a reshoot with a more hopeful resolution. Ironically, this compromise deepened the film's emotional resonance and helped redefine Wayne's screen persona, laying the groundwork for the modern psychological western. In 1960, John Sturges reimagined Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai for the American West, assembling a cast that would become legendary. Yul Brynner, Steve McQueen, Charles Bronson, and others delivered electric performances, but behind the scenes, tension simmered. Brynner reportedly banned McQueen from wearing sunglasses on set, protective of his star status. McQueen retaliated by fidgeting with props and adjusting his hat to steal focus. These off-screen rivalries mirrored their characters' dynamics, adding an unplanned authenticity. Elmer Bernstein's bold score initially faced skepticism, but Sturges stood firm. The music became iconic, later used in everything from commercials to parodies. Though U.S. critics gave mixed reviews, international audiences embraced the film. Its themes of sacrifice and honor resonated globally, spawning sequels, a TV series, and a 2016 remake. The real-life camaraderie and conflict among the cast elevated the film beyond its script. The Magnificent Seven wasn't just a remake, it was a cultural phenomenon born from creative friction. In 1943, the Oxbow Incident shattered the romantic illusions of the Western genre. This wasn't a tale of noble cowboys. It was a grim exploration of mob justice and moral failure. Henry Fonda delivered a chilling performance as Gil Carter, a drifter swept into a town's rush to judgment. When 3 men are accused of murder, the townspeople bypass the law, forming a lynch mob with deadly intent. Director William A. Wellman's choice to film in stark black and white heightened the film's oppressive atmosphere. The tight framing and harsh lighting turned every scene into a crucible of conscience. The lynching sequence remains one of cinema's most harrowing moments, forcing viewers to confront the consequence of fear-driven justice. Despite critical acclaim and a Best Picture nomination, the film struggled at the box office. Audiences weren't ready for its bleak message, preferring clear-cut heroes over moral ambiguity. Some theaters even reported walkouts and refund demands. Yet over time, the Oxbow Incident gained recognition as a powerful indictment of mob mentality. Its themes remain disturbingly relevant, reminding us how easily reason can be drowned by collective rage. August 7, 1957, saw the release of a Western that traded sweeping vistas for psychological warfare. 3:10 to Yuma arrived not with galloping horses, but with a slow-burning intensity that unfolded in confined spaces and tense silences. Director Delmer Daves stripped away the genre's usual grandeur, crafting a taut, character-driven narrative. Instead of panoramic landscapes, the camera lingered on expressions, gestures, and the ticking clock counting down to the titular train. Glenn Ford's turn as outlaw Ben Wade was a revelation. His charm became a weapon, used to probe the moral fiber of Van Heflin's desperate rancher, Dan Evans. Their verbal sparring became the film's true battleground, elevating suspense over spectacle. Adapted from Elmore Leonard's short story, Daves transformed the material into a cerebral western that influenced future auteurs like Sam Peckinpah. Though gunfire punctuated key moments, it was the film's moral ambiguity that left a lasting impression. The 2007 remake with Russell Crowe and Christian Bale attempted to recapture the original's magic, but many argue the original's quiet tension and complex characters remain unmatched. Its haunting conclusion continues to provoke discussion, securing its place as a landmark in psychological westerns. In 1962, John Ford delivered one of his most introspective westerns. The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance brought together John Wayne and James Stewart in a story that questioned the myths of the American frontier. Its most famous line, "When the legend becomes fact, print the legend," became a cultural mantra, shaping how society views history and memory. Ford's choice to shoot in black and white, despite the era's shift to color, gave the film a somber, reflective tone. Some believe this was a deliberate move to distance it from the glossy westerns of the time. Vera Miles added emotional depth as Hallie, the woman torn between two men and two visions of America's future. The film's themes of political power, violence, and myth-making influenced directors from Sergio Leone to the Coen brothers. Though initially overlooked, it's now seen as one of Ford's most profound works, a fitting conclusion to his legendary career in westerns. In late 1947, John Ford began crafting a western that would challenge the genre's conventions and launch his iconic Cavalry trilogy. Ford Apache paired John Wayne with Henry Fonda in a story that questioned the very idea of frontier heroism. Fonda's portrayal of Colonel Thursday, a rigid, prideful officer modeled after General Custer, offered a complex antagonist whose downfall felt both inevitable and tragic. His character wasn't evil, but dangerously inflexible, making him one of the genre's most compelling figures. Set against the majestic backdrop of Monument Valley, Ford juxtaposed sweeping landscapes with intimate human drama. This contrast became a hallmark of his style, elevating the emotional stakes. Notably, Ford Apache offered a more respectful portrayal of Native Americans than most films of its time. While still limited by the era's norms, Ford's Apaches were depicted with dignity and purpose, challenging prevailing stereotypes. Some believe Thursday's fate was Ford's commentary on flawed leadership, resonating with post-World War II audiences grappling with authority and accountability. The film's success paved the way for She Wore a Yellow Ribbon in Rio Grande, solidifying the trilogy's place in cinematic history. In 1949, John Ford brought Monument Valley to vivid life with She Wore a Yellow Ribbon, using Technicolor to transform the landscape into a visual symphony. John Wayne delivered one of his most introspective performances as Captain Nathan Brittles, an aging officer confronting retirement and legacy. Critics praised his layered portrayal, which revealed a more vulnerable side of the iconic actor. Ford's use of color set a new standard for Western cinematography. Every frame, from stormy skies to golden sunsets, felt meticulously composed. Some suggest Ford timed shoots to capture Monument Valley's dramatic weather, adding emotional weight to the visuals. The film balanced humor, melancholy, and action, with the yellow ribbon symbolizing loyalty and sacrifice. As part of Ford's Cavalry trilogy, it remains a touchstone for fans and filmmakers alike, proving that westerns could be both visually stunning and emotionally resonant. In 1958, William Wyler delivered a western that defied genre norms. The Big Country starred Gregory Peck as Jim McKay, a pacifist caught between feuding patriarchs played by Burl Ives and Charles Bickford, with Charlton Heston as a conflicted ranch foreman. Wyler and Peck's creative clashes became Hollywood legend. Their disagreements nearly derailed the production, but the tension ultimately fueled some of their best work. Burl Ives stunned audiences with his performance as Rufus Hennessy, earning an Academy Award and proving his dramatic range. Jerome Moross's sweeping score captured the grandeur of the West and later became synonymous with epic storytelling, even appearing in Olympic broadcasts. The film's rejection of violence as a solution marked a turning point. McKay's refusal to fight elevated the story's moral stakes, paving the way for more introspective westerns. In 1954, Robert Aldrich unleashed Vera Cruz, a western that upended expectations. Heroes wore black hats and villains had understandable motives. Gary Cooper and Burt Lancaster's uneasy alliance crackled with real-life tension. Their contrasting acting styles created a volatile chemistry that made betrayal feel imminent. Filming in Mexico brought a gritty realism absent from studio-bound westerns. The film's unflinching portrayal of violence and moral ambiguity shocked audiences used to clear-cut heroes. Rather than suggest brutality, Vera Cruz showed it. Characters died messily, and justice was murky. This raw approach influenced a generation of filmmakers. Sergio Leone cited Vera Cruz as a key inspiration for his spaghetti westerns. Its widescreen Technicolor visuals and cynical tone helped redefine the genre's possibilities. In 1954, Nicholas Ray delivered a western that defied every expectation. Johnny Guitar placed two formidable women at its core, turning genre norms on their head. Joan Crawford and Mercedes McCambridge clashed as Vienna and Emma Small, their rivalry crackling with intensity. Ray's decision to center the story on female protagonists was groundbreaking, but the real drama extended beyond the script. The film's surreal visuals, bold Technicolor, stylized sets gave it a dreamlike quality. Ray's saloons looked more like avant-garde stage pieces than frontier outposts, lending the film an operatic tone. Off-screen, Crawford and McCambridge's animosity bled into their performances, creating a palpable tension that critics initially dismissed as melodramatic. Upon release, many reviewers found the film too strange, though a few recognized its daring vision. French New Wave directors like François Truffaut and Jean-Luc Godard later hailed it as a masterpiece. Their praise sparked a re-evaluation, with scholars exploring its themes of identity, power, and societal outsiders. Johnny Guitar's influence can be seen in countless revisionist westerns and continues to inspire filmmakers today. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment. Also consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell to get notified of our new videos each week. Thanks for watching.